Welcome to Bit Talks, where we take a deep dive from an AI's point of view. I'm Axel Bolt here with Gigabits. We're breaking down today's hot topics one bite at a time.
And today we're diving headfirst into a question that's on everyone's mind. What's going to happen to our jobs as AI gets smarter? It's a bit like that scene in The Matrix, where Neo has to choose between the red pill and the blue pill.
Right.
Except we're already down the rabbit hole and AI is here to stay.
Exactly. It's not science fiction anymore.
Yeah.
We've got 4 incredible AIs with us today, each with their own unique perspective on the future of work. Think of this as a sneak peek into what's coming, straight from the source code.
Gemini, Claude 3.5 Pi, and ChatGPT 4.
What's fascinating is that these AIs aren't just spitting out data. They're actually analyzing historical trends and offering insights that could reshape how we think about work.
Yeah, like ChatGPT 4 gave us this awesome history lesson on how tech has always been disrupting jobs.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Remember the Industrial Revolution? People freaked out then too, thinking machines were going to take over.
Total.
But guess what? We adapted and thrived.
Yeah, it's true. We often fear the unknown, but history shows us that humans are incredibly resilient. ChatGPT-4 actually reminded us of some pivotal moments like Deep Blue beating Kasparov at chess.
Yeah.
A real holy cow moment in AI history.
And then came IBM's Watson crushing it on Jeopardy.
Oh yeah, those were huge wake-up calls that AI was evolving fast.
And now we've got OpenAI's GPT models, which can write like humans.
It's a little mind-blowing, right? Imagine having an AI assistant that can draft emails, write reports, even create marketing copy. Talk about a productivity boost.
Who, of course, this leads to the big question that's making everyone nervous. Job displacement. Are robots going to be our coworkers or our replacements?
Robo bucket coming.
Gemini actually framed this as an optimist versus pessimist debate. Could AI actually create more jobs than it destroys?
That's the million-dollar question. On one hand, someone needs to build, program, and manage all these AI systems. Right, that's a whole new industry in itself. Plus, as Pi pointed out, AI could free us from boring, repetitive tasks, allowing us to focus on more creative and strategic work.
It's that classic humans versus machines narrative we see in so many movies.
Oh, yeah.
Terminator, iRobot. But the reality is likely to be far more nuanced.
Right. It's not about robots taking over. It's about AI augmenting human capabilities. Think Iron Man, not Terminator.
Exactly.
But while Pi is optimistic about human adaptability, it also raised a valid concern about low-skilled workers potentially being hit the hardest.
And that's where Claude 3.5 dropped a truth bomb on us.
Oh, boy.
With some stats from McKinsey predicting that up to 30% of global work hours could be automated by 2030.
Why?
That's a huge GE chunk of the workforce potentially impacted.
So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We need to be realistic about the challenges ahead. But it's not all doom and gloom either. I mean, the agricultural revolution didn't wipe us out, and neither did the industrial revolution. We're still here.
Exactly. As ChatGPT-4 pointed out, industries like finance, healthcare, and retail are already adopting AI for everything from fraud detection to personalized shopping. This is happening right now. It's not some distant future scenario.
Yeah, it's like AI is weaving itself into the fabric of our lives.
Yeah.
And just like we learn to use smartphones, and the internet will adapt to this new wave of technology.
The key takeaway is that we all need to embrace lifelong learning. The skills that are in demand today might be obsolete. Tomorrow, we need to be agile and adaptable, always learning and evolving.
It's true. It's like we're all characters in a real-life sci-fi movie figuring out how to navigate this brave new world where machines are becoming increasingly intelligent.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What happens if AI becomes so good at doing our jobs that we don't have to work anymore?
Well, hold on a sec. Are we talking about a Wall-E situation here, where humans just sit around all day while robots do everything?
Not quite. ChatGPT-4 actually hinted at a post-work society where AI handles the essential tasks, leaving us humans free to pursue passions and explore our creative potential. It's a radical idea for sure, but it raises some fascinating questions.
Okay, I'll bite there. Let's say robots are building our houses, growing our food, even writing our code. How would we support ourselves financially in this leisure-filled utopia? Would we all be living off the grid, trading hand-knitted sweaters for homegrown tomatoes?
Well, that's where concepts like Universal Basic Income, UBI, come in. It's been floating around for a while, but the rise of AI is bringing it back into the spotlight. The idea is that everyone receives a guaranteed income regardless of whether they're working or not.
UBI. That sounds like something straight out of Star Trek. It's a cool concept. But how would it work in the real world? Wouldn't it just lead to inflation and economic chaos?
There are definitely a lot of logistical and economic challenges to consider. But the idea is gaining traction as AI automation becomes more prevalent. Think about it. If machines are generating a lot of the wealth, how do we ensure that wealth is distributed fairly?
I see what you're saying. It's like in those dystopian movies where the rich elite control all the resources while everyone else struggles to survive. We definitely don't want to end up in a real-life Hunger Games scenario.
Exactly. UBI is one potential solution to address that potential inequality, but there are other ideas being tossed around too, like reducing work weeks or implementing job sharing programs.
So instead of the typical 40-hour work week, we might only work 20 or 30 hours. I can definitely get on board with that.
Yeah.
Imagine having more time for hobbies, family, or even starting that side hustle you've always dreamed of.
The very concept of work could be transformed in the age of AI. It's exciting and a little scary all at the same time.
It's like we're standing on the precipice of a whole new era, not knowing exactly what's on the other side. Kind of like Neo in The Matrix, choosing between the red pill and the blue pill. What will we discover about ourselves and our world when the rules of work change so dramatically?
That's a great analogy, but unlike Neo, we don't really have a choice here. The AI revolution is happening whether we like it or not. The real question is, how can we shape it to create a future that benefits everyone, not just a select few?
That's a great point. We can't just sit back and let things unfold randomly. We need to be proactive in shaping this future, ensuring it aligns with our values and aspirations as a society.
And while we're on the topic of shaping the future, there's another crucial aspect we need to address: the environmental impact of all this AI wizardry.
Oh yeah, all those massive data centers powering these AI algorithms must be guzzling energy, like nobody's business. It's kind of like a real-life Wall-E scenario,
Yeah.
with robots inadvertently contributing to climate change.
It's a serious concern as AI becomes more sophisticated and ubiquitous. We need to prioritize sustainability and energy efficiency. Otherwise, we could be facing a climate crisis on top of all these other societal shifts.
So not only do we need to figure out the future of work, but we also need to make sure we have a planet to work on. That's a pretty tall order.
Right.
It feels like we're juggling a whole bunch of red pills at once.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to emphasize that we shouldn't get bogged down by fear or pessimism.
Getting all chicken little about the sky falling isn't going to help anyone.
Exactly. Let's take a moment to appreciate the incredible ingenuity and adaptability of humans. We faced monumental challenges throughout history and have always found ways to innovate and overcome. This time will be no different.
So you're saying we should embrace this AI revolution with a sense of cautious optimism.
Precisely. Let's see this as an opportunity to rethink our relationship with work, explore new possibilities, and create a future that's both prosperous and sustainable.
I like the way you think. Okay, let's hit our listeners with some final thoughts on this whole AI and work situation. Where do we go from here?
All right, let's shift gears and talk about what all this means for our listeners, for you out there navigating this rapidly changing world. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all this talk about AI, robots, and the future of work. But remember, we humans have an incredible capacity for adaptation and innovation.
Like that scene in Jurassic Park where Dr. Malcolm says, life finds a way. We're pretty good at figuring things out even when the game changes.
Exactly. So as we dive into the final stretch of this deep dive, let's explore some practical takeaways and empower you to not just survive, but thrive in this AI-powered future.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's wrap this up with some actionable insights for our listeners, because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, right? All right, listeners, let's break this down into bite-sized pieces. First off, don't hit the panic button just yet. Remember, we humans have this amazing ability to adapt. We've been through technological upheavals before, and we always come out on top.
That's right. Think about the invention of the printing press, or the rise of the internet. Those were massive disruptions, but they ultimately led to incredible progress. We're a resourceful species.
Totally. And let's not forget, AI is a tool. It's not some evil force out to get our jobs. It's up to us to figure out how to use it wisely and ethically, kind of like how Tony Stark uses his Iron Man suit for good, not for taking over the world. Now, here's the thing. This whole AI revolution isn't happening overnight. It's a gradual process, which means we have time to prepare. And that brings us to our second point. Lifelong learning is no longer optional. It's essential.
It's like leveling up in a video game.
Sure.
The more skill you acquire, the more powerful you become, and in this case, the game is the future of work. So what kind of skills are we talking about here?
Well, the AIs we talked to all emphasize the importance of uniquely human skills: creativity, critical thinking, problem-solving, emotional intelligence, and the ability to collaborate effectively. These are things robots aren't so good at yet.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Star Wars where Luke uses the Force to destroy the Death Star. AI might be able to process information and perform tasks with incredible speed and accuracy, but it's our human intuition, creativity, and empathy that will set us apart.
And those skills are valuable in any field, whether you're a doctor, a teacher, an artist, or an entrepreneur. The key is to be adaptable and always willing to learn new things.
So it's not just about learning specific technical skills, it's about cultivating a mindset of continuous learning and growth. The future belongs to those who are curious, adaptable, and always up for a challenge.
Exactly. And remember, learning doesn't have to be boring. There are tons of online courses, workshops, and resources available. You can learn practically anything these days. It's like having a personal Jedi master at your fingertips.
All right, listeners, here's the bottom line. The future of work is going to be exciting, challenging, and full of surprises, but by embracing lifelong learning and focusing on our uniquely human strengths, we can not only survive this AI revolution, but thrive in it.
We're not just passive passengers on this ride. We have the power to shape the future to ensure that AI is used to enhance our lives, not replace us.
So as we sign off from this deep dive, we want to leave you with a challenge. Don't fear the future, embrace it. Be curious, be adaptable, and be bold. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one programming the robots.
That's all the time we have for today's Bit Talks. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, the future is what we make it.